Guys, welcome back to Grumpy Fox Garage. We have some big changes to show you. Alright, so it's 2025, and we decided to blow apart my entire car. At the end of 2024, we needed to replace a lot of parts. And we also decided to set on the quest to go a little bit faster. So we set out to add to my roll cage, to upgrade my transmission and clutch, to upgrade my fuel injection and intake. We also ended up grading my valve train, and I got a new rear end and jewelry, as Dusty put it. So we have just been on a quest to make improvements, and really, we had been running the ragged edge of parts breaking for quite a while. I had just kind of reached the threshold of horsepower to ability for parts to stay together or break, and we were mostly breaking things. So at the end of last season, I had worn out all the synchros in my T56. It had a hard 3 seasons on it, to be completely honest. 22, 23, and 24. I did a lot of learning in that time, and I put a lot of miles and passes on that transmission. Probably not as many as I could have, but this at the Labor Day race last year, it just was like it was not going into second or fourth gear, so just gone. Not on the track, not under power, not on anything like that. It was kind of fine to drive, so but other than that, it really just did not. It was not doing well, I should say. The other thing is that it became apparent that I needed to switch from diaphragm style clutch to a slipper clutch. So that involved us getting a hold of RAM. We bought a new 10-inch Pro Billet clutch. Um, and so that was pretty awesome. And then as far as the transmission goes, we upgraded to the TIC Ultimate Drag and Drive T56. All right, so starting with the rear end, Dusty upgraded me to a fabricated Ford 9-inch that he built himself. We did quick performance center section and axle shafts. We put Willwood rear disc brakes on it. I had rear disc brakes, but this was an upgrade because it includes an emergency brake, which was pretty sweet. And then we had to do quite a bit of like bracing and just things to make the 9-inch fit because I had a stock 12 bolt under there originally. So, and I had just, I don't know, the one of the tubes I think is twisted, and I broke some of the suspension parts off of it last summer. Just had to weld up in between races just to kind of limp us by. So this has been much needed for a few years now. This will also help with some of the other problems we were experiencing on the track. But yeah, it's pretty sweet piece of jewelry, as Dusty put it. So and so far it's working great this year. And it looks pretty sweet in the car, not gonna lie. But uh, let's see, what else did we do? I think that was about it. I mean, you can see all the suspension parts that I added, that brace and everything, and all of the kind of things that we were trying to accomplish with that. So some other things we tried to accomplish is we tried to put a bigger tire underneath my car, and it fit, quote unquote, but it really just like it had barely a quarter-inch clearance between the frame rail and the tire. So we opted to just switch back to my other tires, and then we ordered a different size. But I mean, ultimately, it did fit. Dusty was excited about that, just not as well as he was hoping. So the biggest new addition to parts was my T56 Ultimate Drag and Drive from TIC Performance. This thing is freaking sweet. So it's got gears 1 through 4 is a G-force face-plated gear set, and then it's got like factory fifth and sixth gear. So I have overdrive still for like doing drag and drive stuff. We got a money shifter with it. So what that does is it has a gate that locks me out from shifting back into second gear from third gear when I'm on the track. And in general, I mean, there's a little lever that you have to flip to do it. The pups were very helpful, as you can see with this unboxing video. Um, and then we ended up putting my other shifter handle back on that, and we're working on adjustments with that too. But this thing is pretty freaking sweet. It's definitely a learning curve for me. Um, it's no joke when they say you gotta drive it like you hate it, but on the track, it's been performing extremely well, and I'm super happy with it. And we haven't even like got everything kind of hooked up on it. So in the front, you can see it's got that billet front plate. So it's got an input shaft speed sensor. And we haven't totally finished wiring that up because we just kind of were under the gun when we were trying to make it to Mega Week and stuff. But this thing, it's pretty slick, so we're definitely enjoying it quite a bit. And it works really well in the car. I'm glad we made that upgrade. So, but it was not without its struggles, and it was about a 3 week struggle bus that we rode when we were trying to get this transmission in and out. So everything came out totally fine, like, and everything looked great that came out. Obviously, the stinkers were worn out in the T56, so whatever. But when we went to put everything back in, Dusty was like installing it, and it just like the transmission just would not go in by like just a little bit, just like half an inch. Like it was super weird. Um, this actually, you can see my old RXT clutch because this is probably like when we almost abandoned the Ram slipper clutch. But anyways, we put the new clutch on, we put my old bell housing back on, with the new transmission, all the things, it all like looked like it was gonna fit, look good. And then the transmission and all the stuff just would not like finish bolting together like flat, like by like quarter to half an inch. So I'm like, what the heck? What's it getting caught up on? So I took it all apart, all the things, took the bell housing off, and my bell housing wasn't deep enough. So we had like a quick time bell housing. It goes straight up, but then it kind of like slopes in. Well, where the slope was, it hit one of the bolts on the top of the clutch, so it was not going to work. So we like searched and searched all afternoon. Dusty and I were both like trying to find a bell housing that'll work, that we don't have to custom order. Not finding anything. Just it's like not gonna happen. So we're like, well, you know what? Screw it. We're gonna put my McLeod clutch back in. We know it fits, and although it's not what we want to do, we'll have to just kind of figure this out at a later time because we're a couple months out from making week, and we're trying to just get this done. So this is kind of all at the mid to end of March. Well, lo and behold, Mike there, he finds one finally later that evening. So we order that, get that in, and then I can't even remember everything that was like went on, but it took us 3 weeks to get the clutch and transmission like in and out. And obviously, we're working, we have a kiddo, and just life in between. So we weren't working on it 24/7 or anything by any means, but the transmission came in and out no less than 3 times, and it was just kind of a disaster. So here we kind of have a top view of my engine. So in all of this, Dusty wanted to upgrade my fuel injection and my intake manifold. We ended up with a Profiler and a Terminator X dual throttle body injection, and it's freaking awesome. We are loving it. Um, it runs amazing. So it was totally worth the install. So all right. So what was probably our biggest endeavor for this whole project was the vinyl wrap on my car. I have never done this before, and we kind of came up with this idea last fall to um, kind of change the attitude and look of the car, update it a little bit. My paint had seen better days. I did love the blue for the record. I know a lot of people are like, "Oh my gosh, I love the blue." It was great. but it was time for a change. So I endeavored to do a vinyl wrap on the entire car, including door jambs and everything. And I will tell you guys, it was hard. I probably have 50 or 60 hours in it. And this is, I just had no experience doing it otherwise. So, but it looks freaking pretty good for what it is. Um, I definitely want to redo a couple spots next winter when I have some time. It definitely made some very beginner mistakes. We had a little snafu in the shop with a heater coming on while I was applying one of the quarter panels, so it blew a bunch of dust out of that into the air, and it kind of got under the vinyl on the one side. So I'll probably redo that eventually. There's a few other things I'm not like totally happy with, and some stuff I've got to research on to do, just like how to do it better. But overall, it looks really good, and you can see it in that beginning video that it turned out well and it looks great on the track. So, not that that's the most important thing, function over beauty, but it looks pretty dang good. Alright, so this is literally us on May 30th at our house at like 6:30, 7 o'clock p.m., trying to get ready to leave for Make Week. This was the first and only time I drove it before we left, and much to our chagrin. This will be the only picture you have of my car unloaded at race week. This was us getting ready to load and stuff. We ran it on the road. We thought, we'll just get it tuned to the track, all the things. We show up to the track and it's broken. We shredded a tire along the way. Here's one of the checkpoints. Here's our friend Krista. She's racing in the little Chevette, having a grand old time. But it just ended up being a lot of just things going wrong. So maybe we shouldn't have just left in the first place, but really wanted to go. I am now disappointed that we didn't try a little harder to get back into competition, but Dusty was very wary of trying to find quote unquote hardware parts for our set of Crowder rockers. And I think we were just too tired to be like go drive in a hot race car all week, and for me to have strap while we do that, and to like try to compete and finish. But there'll be next year, and I'll be excited to try again. So, Tulsa and Missouri, where we went to Flying H and all that stuff. That's pretty cool. I've never really driven in that part of the country, so I enjoyed that quite a bit. I actually liked the weather in Tulsa while we were there. It was not bad. We encountered some crazy, crazy weather. So if you're a race speaker, you know exactly what happened this day. And not very long after I took this video, I'm going to see you all on I-35 trying to get through that gosh dang rain that followed this storm. This was actually before a tornado touched down in this area. We drove through like 20 minutes before. So this is after we got home. This is Dusty getting the broken bolt out of the stand. So it didn't take too much effort, thankfully. And honestly, we could have really fixed it at the track. I know that Lewis from Crowder was there and stuff, and he probably would have helped us out. But like I said, I think we had just reached our threshold, and we were just too tired to make it happen that week. And any true drag and drive person will understand that. So, but it was still a great event. Highly recommend doing a drag and drive at some point if you can in any vehicle. So even the little bit that we participated in as far as the drive and just seeing a couple tracks and stuff, that was awesome. I hadn't been to Tulsa before. I hadn't been to Flying H before. I definitely would like to go back and race at those tracks. So give them the chance again. But got home, we fixed it, and then we took it out that very weekend. So I think we came home on Wednesday, and then or Tuesday or Wednesday, and then on Thursday and Friday we fixed my car, and Sunday we hounded out at Julesburg. So thankfully, I finally got to make some passes on my car. I mean, that's really what we all live for, is to do some burnouts and stuff like that. So I originally went to just go test and tune a little bit, but I ended up having to race to get those passes in, and I think we got about 4 passes in that day. But it was still a good time. Like we definitely, I definitely enjoyed getting to finally see how well my car is going to work all the things. I don't remember what happened here, like why it took me forever to do my burnout and stuff, but I don't know. We were just kind of dicking around a little bit. But the car ran great. We're still having, I don't want to say the same problems we were having before, but we're definitely hitting a big learning curve trying to figure out the slipper clutch and proper weight and all of those kind of things. And we'll definitely keep you updated on that throughout the summer as we're doing that. Um, we learned a lot 4th of July weekend, and we tried a lot of different stuff. Kearney, we went there towards the end of June, and that was kind of just a crapshoot because it was 100 degrees and it was windy. So we only did 8th mile racing, and the track was just yuck. Track. I like going there. This was my second time there. The first time was on race week, and then this was a Rocky Mountain Stick Shifter race, the actual first Midwest Stick Shift Nationals. But it just ended up being so hot that whole weekend. So I don't think anybody ran quite like they wanted. I did 8th mile racing for the first time, which was a total shit show for me, honestly. But I learned a lot. I actually have a new respect for it, so I'd like to go give it a try again somewhere else and stuff. Maybe when it's not so hot too. But here, we just struggle with traction, and that's always kind of our big deal. By the 4th of July, I was doing like a second burnout on the starting line. So these ones aren't quite as bad, but still not great. So we're still, I mean, you can see the tire spin there. I was just freaking trying to get everything to work. Dusty was really working on tuning the suspension while we were here too. So it's just a lot of, we had a lot more test and tune planned before the beginning of the season, and just between the delays with my clutch and bell housing and a couple other things, just some parts and just work, and we just didn't get there. But we'll get there by the end of the summer, and hopefully this next race at the Hot Rod Revival in Julesburg will be awesome. So we've got things almost there, almost dialed in, and it's gonna be a lot of fun. Thanks for tuning in, and don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button there below the video, and we'll see you on the next one.